Okay, so we're going to go ahead and kick this off. Again, thank you everyone for joining. Looks like we've got a good group of attendees on the call here today. And I'm actually very excited about this discussion, this webinar that we're going to be having with signNow. It is the second fastest selling product for remote work. And as we all know, that is the market today. It's our new normal. And so we want to really go over a lot of the details, features, and approaches that you can go to your customers with, especially with signNow. So I'm going to go ahead and jump to the next slide. So we're going to be talking today with Scott Owen, who's the VP of Global Business Development and Channels at signNow, and also Christian Pacarana, Senior Solutions Architect at signNow and AirSlate as well. So we're bringing them on. They are the experts. They are the individuals that are going to educate us, teach us how to approach your customers on eSignature. What are the opportunities specific to signNow? So Scott, Christian, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys take it away.
Very good, Nick. Thanks very much. Thanks for everybody's attendance today. And it's a pleasure for both Christian and myself to participate in today's webinar. You can see by the pictures, I'm the much older guy of the two. And this is Christian's bodyguard picture as well. So he's the more serious one, but he's the smarter guy. So again, appreciate the opportunity to be here today. So we're going to talk about signNow and the market opportunity. We're going to cover why digital signature right now, who is signNow, what's the market opportunity, our value proposition, and really some target audiences that you can be focused on and conversation starters. First and foremost, to Nick's point, eSignature is now the #2 work from home, office from home solution on the planet. You can see telemedicine being #1, video conferencing. You've heard of Zoom and the significant stock increase of them, but eSignature falls right in between #1 and #2. Again, the second fastest growing software solution on the planet, work from home, work from office. Key thing to note, the market opportunity for eSignature is enormous. $25 billion total addressable market, of which only 1.5 billion, less than 10%, has been penetrated. So the upside market opportunity is enormous, with about 40% of that total addressable market just here in North America. So the opportunity is significant. And again, eSignature is the second fastest growing solution from a remote standpoint. So as Nick stated, you can see from our introductions, overall, we sit within AirSlate. AirSlate's the parent company. The product we're going to be talking about today is signNow, which is our legally binding electronic signature offering. And again, it is very significantly positioned for the SMB and mid-market. And obviously, we've got some enterprise customers as well. But today, we're going to talk about signNow, our electronic signature offering. So key to note is we've been around for 10 years, 60,000 plus customers, 6 million users. I will get towards the end of the presentation sort of why signNow versus DocuSign. You would have heard from DocuSign, heard about DocuSign. Just to note, I came from DocuSign prior to coming to AirSlate and signNow. I was there for 5 years. I ran their global channel for DocuSign. So we'll talk through a little bit about the differences and why us. Key features, just to note, e-signing in a role-based order, signing bulk signature invites, shared folders for teams, online fillable forms, audit trails, which is key for compliance, the ability for your customers to brand our platform in this offering as well. So again, I mentioned 6 million users. Here's an example of those logo slides. I don't know why, but we have a tendency to be leaning towards sports right in the center. Unfortunately, I'm a Bronco fan and they're not on the slide. So I have some work to do here in Colorado. But this gives you a feel, again, mid-market, SMB, all the way up to the enterprise. We have MetLife as a customer all the way up into the large enterprise. So what are you selling? What can you sell with AppSmart? We have two offerings, our signNow Business Premium and our signNow Enterprise. Both can be offered in an annual paid upfront commit or monthly cancelable anytime. So we want to sell our product alongside the way that you sell. The key note difference between Business Premium and Enterprise is the integrations, and I'll talk through those as well. The ability to receive and track payments as well as SSO as well. So just some quick highlights. And again, if you're familiar with DocuSign, if you're familiar with eSignature, a lot of these feature functionalities will look very familiar. We simplify complex workflows through the use of our offering. We absolutely increase team productivity. We'll talk about those metrics that your customers will experience. The ability to quickly fill out and sign documents, ability to approve documents on any device, anytime, in seconds as well. Lastly, you can maintain your company brand. So your customers can brand our platform. That's pretty significant. And ultimately, we're about creating work to be uninterruptible. We talked about integrations, very key. We're out of the box integrated with all of Microsoft's stack, whether that's Office 365, Dynamics, Teams, Power Automate. You can see also Salesforce, G Suite, ERP being NetSuite, Aptus, and all the storage players out there as well. So again, we're an out of the box integrated solution to your customers' applications that they use every day. I won't drain this slide, but here you can see the typical customer challenges when they're in a paper-based process and not utilizing an eSignature offering. Obviously, excess spending on paper, a lot of labor resources. You can see on the right side how signNow provides and solutions those customer challenges. So again, left side, you see inefficiency, slow document process. We speed that up in turnaround times that are exponential, which I'll share here shortly. But again, we are about really that first entree point for customers to move into a digital world. We are that offering that can provide that for you.
Hey, Scott.
Yes, sir.
Quick question, just to give an understanding of the e-signature market from your point of view, and for everybody on the call. It's been around for a long time. We've all been signing e-signature documents from different vendors or services that we engage with personally.
Yep.
Who or what industries were early adopters of e-signature, to give a perspective that it's been adopted not just now because of COVID, it's been around for a while?
Yeah, great question, Nick. Early adopters would have been the very paper-based intensive industries, starting 10 plus years ago, being the banks, the insurance companies, even healthcare. You think about the amount of paperwork, 10 years ago that we did around opening up a bank account, to all of our insurance forms, to healthcare when you went in to visit a doctor. All that has now been digitized. That paper process has been moved into a more digital process. So those were
even loan servicing, I'm sure, is so for partners who have mortgage companies as customers, I mean, this is a go-to conversation, especially if there's cost savings associated.
Yes. And we'll talk through those cost savings. You're exactly right. I mean, today COVID has obviously accelerated so much of that process where you used to have a wet signature. All that is pretty much gone away. It is now eSignature and eSignature only. And as I heard this morning on another presentation, the genie that has been let out of the bottle will never get put back into the bottle. I mean, we will, and we who have experienced digital signature, that'll be the only thing we do going forward. And we'll talk about some very, very unique use cases as well. Here you can see typical ones across HR. You think about in the last 6 months, what's gone on with HR, with the offboarding of employees, the re-onboarding of employees. they have have had to accelerate into the digital process of eSignature. Obviously, you know about sales and contracts, you know, finance, tax reforms, et cetera, legal, et cetera, et cetera. But to your point, Nick, eSignature is applicable for every size company, every line of business, every industry today.
Right.
So again, won't drain this slide, but here's a great example of multiple use cases across both several lines of businesses and industries that are very, very applicable. One other thing, and you and I talked about this, Nick, earlier this week, education is their vault into digital has been exponential these last few months. If you think about the university settings, K through 12, students going to be in classroom, not in classroom. The amount of digitization that now occurred is significant between parents and teachers, parents in the school systems, et cetera, et cetera. So again, EDU, both K through 12, university settings, huge opportunity if anybody in your channel is focused on there as well.
Yeah, and it sounds like what I'm hearing is that, you know, come and ask someone who's familiar with the industries associated to eSignature before you potentially disclude a vertical or an industry from thinking they don't need it, they won't use it. Sounds like education and a lot of different verticals have uses for this internally. It's just a matter of asking the question.
Absolutely, exactly right. And I'll tell you, this goes all the way out to, you know, people personally. I have a 4-year-old granddaughter that starts soccer on a soccer team this Saturday. You know, the typical waiver forms, used to sign those, mail those, all that has been done electronically. So waiver forms for parents, for kids that are playing sports, to the school systems, et cetera, et cetera. This whole digital use of electronic signature has moved all the way from the big corporations that need that speed and efficiency, all the way down to us as parents or grandparents that need this for their kids, grandkids, et cetera. So it is the wave of the future for sure, and it's here. I'll give you a great use case success story. This occurred right when COVID occurred. The Nevada Department of Health and Human Resources, again, another great industry, local and state government, are flocking to us at signNow because they have had to move every bit of their process digitally as well. So here was the state of Nevada where they needed to self-quarantine some of their people in the state as well as those traveling into the state. Originally, that would have been done with a person going out to get a signature. Within a few minutes, they deployed signNow, and through both HIPAA compliance and security compliance, we were able to create this whole digital process of getting these employees and people coming into the state to sign this quarantine mandated letter. So again, they were able to do that efficiently, cost effectively, cost savings in a secured scenario as well. So state and local government, again, another very big opportunity for you as well. So I wanted to stop here for a second. I have come from DocuSign. I left a year ago. I ran their global channel worldwide for them, but I think it's important for your channel and for the people on this call who are familiar with DocuSign to understand some of the key differences between signNow and DocuSign. You can see the left side here, we allow 1,000 sends per user per year. DocuSign allows 100 sends per user per year. So we allow with our service 10 times more usage. Also, we count transactions when they're completed, and DocuSign counts them when they're initiated. Those are two very separate things. We find on average 17% of the transactions initiated don't get completed. That's because it gets pulled back. There's maybe new signatures that need to get applied. You maybe add another document to that process. But we count transactions only when they're completed. Also, we're 25% less cost than DocuSign. And I would say emphatically, we are more channel friendly, channel centric here at signNow. So you think about it, you get 10 times more usage of the product. We count transactions very differently, and we're priced 25% less. So very, very significant out there.
So let's talk about that for a second, because I think it's pertinent to the current market, and I really, really want to impress upon the individuals on this call. Organizations, large, small, mid, enterprise, are looking for cost savings. They're looking for a reputable, reliable platform and solution for eSignature that can meet all of their needs. signNow qualifies for every single facet, and it was developed by former DocuSign execs. That's great. On top of that, though, what you can go to your customers with is immediate cost savings with signNow if they're a current DocuSign customer. This is a way to go and get business from someone who's using DocuSign already. Approach them with just the overall cost savings on the per user, but then they're also getting more for their dollar on the SINs. This is extremely important. I can tell you from an individual selling a lot of eSignature at AppSmart. I've had the opportunity to be involved in a lot of these deals, and customers care about these differences that you're seeing on this page. Not only that, I think one of the key things, Scott, that you haven't touched on is that what agents can do working with signNow, even if they go after a customer who is already direct with signNow. I'm going to let you talk to that, Scott, because I think that everyone should pay attention to what Scott's about to say.
Yeah, we're very supportive. If you go into an account that's a current signNow account, and at renewal time, we would be supportive of you taking it on that renewal onto your paper and driving it through yourselves. And the reason for that, and I know that DocuSign was not in favor of that, we are in favor of it because we believe that a service provider like your agents will provide a greater service to our end customers. You're closer to them, you're the trusted advisor. We're typically just the vendor, if you will. And we believe that you coming alongside and grabbing that transaction at renewal time, you'll have a chance to not only take that transaction, but uplift it, grow that opportunity, grow the partnership with the customer as well. So we're very, very supportive of that initiative.
I think that's huge. We appreciate that, Scott. And I think that is a big difference between, a competitor like DocuSign, is that signNow is not locking down their accounts. And when and if you stumble onto one of your customers who's already a signNow user and you have that relationship and trust, you're not going to be restricted from signNow to go and take that licensing and move it over into your quadrant business.
Yep, exactly. And to your point, the opportunity not only within our own accounts at renewal time, but as you mentioned, at DocuSign renewal opportunities, be on the lookout for those, because the opportunity is to provide, a 25% less costing to your customer with the same feature function and parity with DocuSign. So very, very significant.
While we're on this, Scott, I know that DocuSign and competitors in the eSignature environment, they have validator SKUs, they have modules and different add-ons that for different verticals meet the needs of multi-factor authentication, making sure that you identify exactly through the appropriate credentials what user, where they are, and that it is them that's making that electronic signature. Are those features and functions that signNow also provides?
Yep, absolutely. Embedded into our offerings with no uplift. Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Perfect.
So I'm going to, this is my last slide. I'm going to turn it over to Christian and have him walk you through a brief demo. But this is sort of the money slide. This is why every customer of yours needs signNow. We have seen an increased productivity of 80%. 80% of the documents completed in a day. You think about the old process of chasing where agreements are, who is signed, who is not signed. A lot of time is spent in that process. But again, 80% of documents sent are completed in a day. We've seen a huge increase in customer experience, customer satisfaction scores going up with the use of signNow. And again, we talked about the cost savings of time and efficiency, 25 times faster turnaround on document workflows with the use of signNow. And to Nick's point, we are a significant cost saving application. The average cost savings for every send is somewhere between $24 and $36 a send. And so an easy ROI calculation with your customer is how many documents or how many sends do you plan to send? And he times that by $24 to $36 and go, that's the cost. And we typically are we can provide a 7 times return on investment inside the first year. So significant cost savings. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing, and I want to turn this over to Christian to give you a brief demo. He'll pull up his screen and begin to share, again, the differentiation in how we create our workflow with signNow. So with Christian, with that, I'll turn it over to you.
Great. Thank you, Scott. So guys, I want to show you how easy it is to upload a document, add the fillable fields to it, and then be able to get that document out for signing. So we can go ahead and drag and drop the document into the interface itself, or we could go ahead and upload it. And we do convert everything into PDF. So if you have a Word document in Excel, or if you have even a JPEG document, we will convert that into a PDF. So once the document itself has been uploaded into signNow, the next step is to address who's signing the document. On the left-hand side, you'll see the easy-to-use tools, which you'll see that will show you your signature fields, your text fields, calculated fields, and so forth, and who is signing your document. So you can address how many signers you're going to have and what signing order they're going to be in, and if you need to give those signers a role. So you could change it to whatever name that you want to be able to do it. Once you add all the signers in there, then you'll see everything is color-coded. At that point, you're able to go ahead and kind of drag and drop the fields that you want to go ahead and fill out. So you'll see once we pick and choose a text field, we're able to go ahead and add it, and then align it into the right-hand side. You'll see the settings for that field. So we can label that field and call it, for instance, first name. We're able to make it validated as well, and so forth. So pretty easy to do. Adding signature fields, we'll add a signature field to the bottom, have them sign it there, and we'll add a date field to the right as well, have them fill that out. I'm not going to fill out this whole document, but I just want to show you guys how easy it is to go ahead and just add and drop fields and be able to add settings to those fields. In this case, what we'll do is, for the sake of the demo, we'll remove one of the signers and we'll save it. And what we'll do is, the next step is to kind of show you guys what it would be to send out the invites. So once we have completed the document, we can save it as a template if we want to use it more than one time. Once we use it, we can also share it with teams and have other people within our team being able to use use the actual document and being able to get a report off of it as well if we need to. So right now, there are a couple different options to get your document out for signing. One is to create a signing link. If you create a signing link, what happens is a URL is then generated, and you can use this URL to either embed it into your website, or if you want to send it through a text message, or however you want to get that document out. And at this point, whoever clicks on that URL can go ahead and fill out the document. The next step is to being able to invite to sign it. At that point, if we invite to sign, we are going to go ahead and add the email address of that person that we're sending it to. And we can also customize the signer's subject and message. Not only that, we're also able to do branding. So if you're planning on changing the logo into your company's logo, you can also do branding as well. So anything that really goes out that has the signNow logo will be replaced with your company logo. Below that, you can also have some advanced options that we have to be able to add additional authentication to the document to secure it even more. Now, every document that is going out will always be encrypted from transit to rest 256 encryption. But on top of that, we also have additional authentication measures like passwords that can be generated by either manually or text or a phone call. We can also set auto reminders to remind our signers, that the document will expire in X amount of days. And then also we can redirect our signers after signing. So this is a pretty cool feature as well. So if you want them to go to a different landing page after they've signed your document, you could enter the URL here. And then once they've completed the document, they'll be redirected at that point.
Hey, Christian.
Yes.
What are these some of the features that, for example, a life sciences organization or a vertical who has third-party audits, could you point out some of the features that they would use?
Yeah, absolutely. Mainly that would be just the history of the document. So every document that has been signed will always have a, I'll just show you that right now, an audit trail. And that audit trail itself will show you, let's download this one, will show you every step that occurred throughout the signing process. So if we look below here, and I'm just going to zoom in real quick so you guys can see that, we can see that what event occurred, by who, at what time, and what IP address it came from. So we're able to track, each and every event, and also every signature itself will have a unique ID, as you can see here. So it doesn't matter how many times you sign the document, this ID will change. But this is a way for us to track it, provide it if the customer needs it. But at the same time, they can always have this audit trail being attached to their final document, or they can go ahead and look at it in real time by just clicking history and seeing what's going on. If they wanted to check up on the document, if it was still pending and wanted to see, what events occurred, and if the document itself has been viewed but not signed, and find out why.
So are these features that are built into all of your plans, or is there a specific tier or plan that a user or a company has to sign up for to access those?
Yeah, so typically we do have different features that are associated with different plans. And that's usually going to be, what we're showing you right now is going to be our enterprise plan. The enterprise plan will give you a little bit more features, conditional fields, calculated fields, things that I was just showing. The advanced threat protection is also something that we've been doing for quite a while. We came from a security company, Barracuda Networks, in the past. This feature itself was integrated in a lot of their products. Now, what this feature really does is that any attachments that are put into your document, we go ahead and scan those attachments to make sure that they're not any threat to your network when you're downloading them into your network at that time. So some of the stuff that I'm showing you right now is through the enterprise package. But we do have a business plan, business premium, and then we have our business cloud as well that includes our integrations and so much more as well.
Perfect. Okay, and I just asked because I know that there's a lot of partners or advisors that may be on the call that have specific verticals they serve. Mm-hmm. And I have found that those validator modules, those audit trails, and the history, yes, it's quite pertinent.
Right, and those are all included. In all the models at that point. So the only difference is smaller features like calculated fields and conditional fields. And then being able to use, our integrations and all that. So,
okay, so really, that's what I was trying to point out is a lot of the features that I'm seeing that you guys are including in your tiers and plans. I'm just going to say that competitors accessorize those features and functions and charge for them as add-ons a lot of times. Keep that in mind as a value prop for positioning signNow.
Agreed.
Absolutely. And then after the documents, have been signed, and the other thing is that storage as well. We don't count towards storage. We keep documents anywhere up to 7 years, but we also do partner up with our cloud storage solutions that you guys can back them up as well. So it's easy to connect those at a per user level, or being able to connect it at an organizational level for all your users.
Perfect.
All right. Yeah, no worries. So that was my quick high-level overview of the product. I just kind of wanted to touch base on a couple cool things and how easy it was to actually upload the document, send the document out for signing. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to pop them in the Q&A box. But I'll go ahead and stop share, and I'll turn it over to Scott, and then we could go from there.
Very good. Thank you, Christian. Well done. And let me just, I'm going to end with just one last slide. Everybody can see my slide. Nick, you good? See it?
Yep.
Cool. So just lastly, I think it's important to note, we help digitally transform companies and lines of businesses in the industries that they serve. We are a great land and expand offering. You go into a sizable company, you can start with HR, then you can move on to sales, then you can move on to legal. And I think that's a great point to note. We're sticky. Once people begin to use electronic signature, they don't put that genie back in the bottle again. They continue to realize the cost savings, the efficiencies, et cetera. And lastly, great renewal rates because customers need this solution. I'll end with one of the things we want to bring to the partnership that I know our competitors don't bring, and that is leads and opportunities. We have one of the biggest SEO, SEM engines on the planet. It's one of the reasons why I came to signNow is because our leadership, and I direct report right into our CEO, was committed to bringing leads and opportunities to our channel. And so one of the things that we will be doing with Nick is working to set that process up to begin bringing leads also to you obviously in reciprocation for the opportunities that you will find and bring to us in the partnership. So with that, Nick, that concludes our presentation and the demo. Again, Christian, thank you, and open up for questions.
Yeah, we have some live questions here. We had quite a few while on the call, and I've been trying to field them a little bit so we have some time. But first off, Sam has some good questions. Can you set up folders for files? I think maybe what he means is for different templates and for different documents that you would send out to categorically organize them. Can we do that within signNow?
Absolutely, yes. So we can set up folders, we can set up subfolders within the folders as well. And then there'll be shared folders for your team. So anybody that drops anything in there, it can be viewed from other teams, and also templates that are being shared can be also viewed by other teams. So definitely, Sam, we can set up folders and subfolders.
Okay. And Sam had asked, can they be saved to SharePoint? I would answer that yes, they could be pulled from or saved to SharePoint. That's just an open cloud storage environment. So you can pull from or push to SharePoint, however you like. Michael Martin asked if he could see the dollar slide again and explain the ROI. We have some time, so this is great to answer these questions and go over some details. For anybody else still on the call, if you have some questions, if you're sitting there with something in the back of your mind and you're not sure if it's relevant, please ask it. Let's get that out on the table. Yeah, let's go over the dollar slide and explain the ROI one more time that you had said an average of 7x, I think, that we talked about.
Yeah, no, and coming from DocuSign, if you ever hear their quarterly reports, they will state an average of $36 of savings per send. We state $24 to $36. You think about what it takes, the cost to do a send. You've got paper, you've got print, you got potentially FedEx, UPS, anything that you're expediting that document in sort of the olden days, a cost. I'll give you a great example. I had to overnight a document. I sit on a couple of boards. I had to overnight a document to the East Coast. It cost me $49.86 to send one sheet of paper with my signature because they required, for some reason, a wet signature. Then the next morning they said, oh, we forgot, you need to send one more document. I went back down to the UPS store, paid another $49.86, and said, holy cow, I've just spent $96 on two signatures when I could have bought a seat from signNow and had 1,000 sends. So again, that's a cost. You have the cost of people's time, of chasing agreements, calling your customers, trying to figure out where it is, et cetera, et cetera. So you have a soft dollar cost of time and labor, and then you have the hard costs of print and paper, as well as overnight costs as well. And so it is a pretty calculated number of $24 to $36 cost savings per send. And that's why we come up with this 7x ROI.
Perfect. Okay, so a couple individuals were asking about case studies for different verticals. Have you been able to pull together case studies that we can provide to partners and advisors for different verticals? You know, like life sciences, education, as you spoke to, possibly manufacturing, obviously finance, mortgage. If there are case studies or tutorials, as Troy mentioned, then that would be valuable. Sounds like we do have that kind of collateral.
We do. Yep. Happy to send that to you. I'll work through you, Nick, to pull that together and have it out there.
Yeah. So anybody on the call who has a vertical, who would like a case study that might be relevant for a particular customer, all you have to do is either ask myself. Again, my name's Nick Collins. I'm the National Channel Manager for the West. You also have resources in the middle of the country and in the East. Steve Slaughter, Matt Springle, we're all software experts. We can help you regionally, and we will get you that information depending on what type of case study that you're looking for. So please ask.
Yep.
Troy had a good question about tutorials at the top of the page, and is there any support available as new customers are getting used to creating and using documents and uploading templates and taking what was in paper form and turning it into digital form? So I'll let you go first, and then Scott, I'll stand behind that for what AppSmart will do in working with you.
Absolutely. Definitely early on in your selling motion, we will come alongside and help you and support that sale, whether it's on the call with you and the customer, and we're just part of that sales process, to supporting you demo-wise. We'll provide qualification opportunity. We're happy to help price it. Just utilize us as additional, sales support, technical sales support as well.
Okay, perfect. So to get a little bit further into your question, Troy, and for anyone wondering what's the support like, the ongoing support, there's a difference between troubleshooting support and having someone to escalate an issue to, and then there's a difference between ongoing implementation, administrative, and configuration type support. At AppSmart, we're able to do either. We will work with signNow to provision the license only, to where we're not so much of a handheld ongoing support, or we will also well include with an additional fee per user, that type of support where you can come to us at any given time. And our relationship and agreement with signNow is so that it allows our engineers, if anything is detailed to where we need to escalate to signNow on the back end, we do so. And we have that type of reseller agreement. So you can go different ways. And I think it's fair to understand the expectations of your customer with Scott and the team at signNow on those qualifying pre-sale calls, so that we know what's the value in adding a little bit more per license, so that you can call us at any time for training, for pulling docs from one cloud storage area and turning them digital to signNow. So again, you're going to work with your cloud expert at AppSmart and with the signNow team to build that value and determine if it's necessary with your customers. We have some people asking for a couple of the slides today, so we will do that. Sam asked about seeing the different seat types again, and if we can show that.
Yep, the two offerings being the business premium and the enterprise. Yep, we can make sure that we through you can provide those details so you get all the feature functionality differences between the two.
Yeah, we've got a lot of good questions coming in.
I'll address the Salesforce CRM integration.
Perfect.
So on that one, we do have a integration that's built with Salesforce for a couple of years now. The way it's structured is that it sits into a object or a custom object inside of Salesforce, and it's initiated through a button, or it could be initiated through Process Builder. And initially, we have two features in there that are able to populate data. One is the one-way data binding, which we're able to take it and kind of flatten it into the PDF. And then we have a two-way data binding, which allows us to take the data from Salesforce, populate the form, and then send it out, and then also come back and update the record if needed. So there are a couple different buttons that do different things with that integration. If you guys are more interested in seeing a demo on that, you could definitely coordinate with AppSmart and signNow. We could schedule something for that.
Excellent. These are some quick, easy questions. You guys have a minimum number of seats?
Nope.
Okay. That is a difference to competitors. Again, everyone on the call is that other competitors in the eSignature environment have a minimum amount of seats. So when you work with those smaller companies, you know, if that's your vertical, I'd say signNow is a good fit.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be talking. We won't be sending out pricing or commissions or a spiff associated to signNow. That is something that if you want that specific information, you can go to your Learning Campus portal and inquire through commission inquiries at appsmart.com, or call your cloud expert, myself in the West, Steve Slaughter on the East, Matt Springle in the Midwest, in the middle of the country. Reach out to them, engage. If you want dedicated training, that's what we're here for, is to support you with these types of requests. Let's see. I don't think that we have any other open questions outside of that. I'm trying to, let's see. It's 16. This is some great questions. If there's any other potential questions that you have, please let me know. A couple of things that I do want to mention before anyone jumps is we've had a lot of success with signNow. And I could tell you that you can lead confidently with signNow. And Scott, I wanted to challenge you real quick with an off-the-cuff question and say, why would a partner lead outside of price? Let's take price out of it. Let's take the cost savings out of it. Why would a partner or an advisor lead with signNow over DocuSign?
I think if I go back to the one slide of the differences, we allow 1,000 sends versus 100 for DocuSign. So you're basically saying to your customer, you're going to get 10 times more usage of the product. And including how we calculate a transaction being completed. But I think that's the number one difference, besides price savings, cost savings, is our intent is to have a customer that absolutely, wraps their business around eSignature. And by allowing more sends, allows them to utilize the product across, business lines, et cetera. So I think that's a number one. When we're in already feature functionality parity, the number of sends, usage of the product without being capped and having to buy another seat is a big differentiation.
And I would second that. Having a lot of experience with DocuSign and signNow, I would second that the value in what Scott just pointed out is huge, and it will come up in your transactions, and you will have an opportunity to shine with signNow because those specific features and functions are what are most valuable to customers when it comes to eSignature. They're concerned about volume. They have unknown volumes.
Yep.
And so they're tentatively making those decisions with an expectation of how they may scale. signNow is flexible. Keep that in mind. I have a really good question. Jason Fedorov ask a very good question. If someone is on DocuSign now,
Yep.
how hard is the transition to signNow in terms of functionalities, interface,
Yep.
whatnot? Could you speak to that?
Yeah, I'll maybe have Christian answer that because we're seeing a lot of inbound inquiries of use of DocuSign. We want to make a change. And they're wanting to do it for all the reasons that we just talked about: price, cost savings, but usage, opportunity, et cetera. But their next question is, how easy is it to make that change? So Christian, I'll lean on you for that answer.
Yeah, absolutely. And we get that question a lot, and it's really, really easy. I mean, as you can see the demo that I showed, just uploading the documents, adding the fields, but we also have features that allow us to scan the document to see where, fields typically may be. So if a document itself was built out, in some, Word or Adobe or something like that, we're able to at least scan the document and pre-fill the document with fields. So that kind of helps you out without having to start over again. So that's one thing, but just being able to upload the document and add the fields in and then saving it. And then if you need to make any minor adjustments, we could still import fields from, another document or an existing template and so forth. So there are a lot of tools there to help you and some shortcuts there. But I don't, ever, run into any customers that's shown that they've had, a tough time transitioning from DocuSign to signNow.
Perfect. That's good to know. And I've seen it, so it should be a pretty smooth transition. And I'd say that overall, the level of competency to go and run with a solution like this on your own, I'd say you don't have to have a high level of competency. There are, when you get into more technical or dynamic functions with the tiers and the tools, maybe, but that's what AppSmart and that's what signNow is here for to explain and help and train.
Absolutely.
This is a good question, Sam. Sam, I'm gonna challenge you. I think you have some opportunities because you're asking some very pertinent questions here. Is signNow willing to sponsor a webinar for our clients and partners and prospects? I'm gonna let you answer that.
Absolutely, happy to. We've got a great team that are actually out there listening in, and they would be shaking their heads. Absolutely, yes. Happy to do that.
Yeah. So if you have a group of customers, if you have a group of prospects that are looking to learn a little bit more, and just want to have a single source webinar to get the training, let's set that up. Absolutely.
Yep.
If anyone else is on the call that's wondering the same thing, reach out to your cloud experts regionally, and let's set up training for your customers on eSignature who either are with DocuSign or who are considering the transition into eSignature from paper signatures.
Yep.
We'll talk to all of the aspects, and I can tell you that, hopefully you've learned from today that Scott and Christian and team, they're not going to be forcing your customers into a corner. It's an educational conversation. It's a customer benefit. It's a cost savings conversation. It's truly something that I think, this is my opinion, it would be negligent for us advisors and partners right now not to take this to our customers and give them the opportunity to not only save on their spend, but also present a new digital transition for the future.
Agreed.
So keep that in mind. A couple of things I did want to mention, and while we wait for potentially a couple other questions, is AppSmart's holding, amazing webinars like this very frequently. We're going to be holding 2 more next week. We're going to be going over decoding digital transformation in general. What is it? What does that mean? That's on Tuesday. On Thursday, we're going to be holding an AppSmart Energy webinar that's basically going to go over everything outside of electricity and how you can take an opportunity with energy and move forward with it with a lot of your customers. That's on Thursday. As I look for more questions, I don't see any. Scott, Christian, I'm going to give you this opportunity. We still have some good attendees on the call. Is there anything that you want to mention, reinforce, or that you think is critical for agents who have never sold eSignature? What would your advice be right now for taking that to their customers?
Yep, great question. You know, I think one of the easiest applications to probably sell today is eSignature. As we mentioned earlier in the slide deck, it's the #2 work from home, office from home solution on the planet. So it's an easy discussion of, hey, Mr. Customer, what are you using for eSignature today? Are you still in a paper-based process, paper-based signature process? Yes, no, gets you going with the conversation. You can go, hey, I've got a great solution that I'd love to present to you. We will come alongside that opportunity. You're the trusted advisor. The customer trusts you. You have that reach. We want to take advantage of that reach through you, and we will support you in the success of that transaction with your customer.
Excellent. That's good advice. Just get out there, ask the question, what are you doing for eSignature?
Yep.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Christian. Really appreciate it. Everyone on the call, if you don't mind, could you stay on for maybe 10 to 15 seconds after the call? We've got a survey on the webinar that we'd really appreciate your feedback on. AppSmart is very focused on making some valuable webinars for our partners, and these surveys really help us out. Again, signNow and team, and for everyone listening in from signNow, thank you for a great webinar, great information. It was very insightful. Hopefully all the partners and advisors understand what kind of opportunity they have in the eSignature vertical after speaking with you. My name is Nick Collins, National Challenger for the West. We just want to, at AppSmart, help everybody understand we're here for you. We have a plethora of solutions, just like you've learned about today, that we will support and take to market with your customers. Any questions, any details, we're going to be following up with some collateral with signNow that Scott alluded to after this call. If you have any more needs about case studies or any collateral that you want Scott or Christian to put together that might go in front of an opportunity, at least bring that to us. Let us see what we can do to support your sales efforts. But again, thank you, Scott, Christian, and team.
Our pleasure. Thank
Appreciate
you, Nick.
everyone for joining the webinar.
You bet. Thank you.
All right, guys. Have a great day.
You too.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye.